WrestleTalk!
I'm back! And better than ever. Sutton, Eric Bischoff's music. I bet you didn't even know I was gone. But I was, and now, in the famous words of Chris Pratt, wahoo, and let's-a go. I'm Pete Quinnell, welcome to the WrestleTalk News. Today's top story is that WWE was notably absent from both Fox and NBC's TV Upfronts. The Upfronts are a place where TV networks typically highlight their content going forward and let everyone know what shows to look out for. And in previous years, WWE has had a fairly strong presence across these sorts of events. NBC Universal is of course the home of Monday Night Raw and NXT, while Fox is the home of SmackDown. Interestingly though, WWE was barely featured in this year's Upfronts, as according to PW Insider, there were only WWE highlights used as part of a video package of shows on Peacock, and that's about it. There were no wrestlers present, which there have been in previous years as well, and the report also states that WWE weren't mentioned as part of the Fox press release ahead of the event too. Now, it's worth noting that this could be because WWE is viewed as sports content rather than traditional TV content, which could be a factor, but it still doesn't quite explain the entire absence. The logical next step when thinking about why this could be is because WWE may be looking to open up their negotiations for their TV rights soon, as PW Insider is reporting that the window for exclusive negotiations with both networks either is up soon or has expired. So if we get our speculation hats on, this could be why networks aren't hyping up their WWE content right now, as they don't know whether they'll actually be showing WWE content or not going forward. It's a curious situation, and definitely one we don't know all the info for right now, so stay tuned to WrestleTalk.com for any updates. Speaking of not having all the info, let's talk about Bray Wyatt. There's seemingly been some confusion over Wyatt recently, both backstage and not. And that's not even talking about his booking! Am I right, lads? Because it's been confusing. A PW Insider report noted that Bray Wyatt is not currently listed in any fashion internally on the WWE roster. Now, while we could ramp up the overhyping wagon and jump to the conclusion that this must mean he's been released from WWE again, Fightful Select have clarified that he was left off the roster list due to his ongoing illness, and both he and Bo Dallas, who portrays Uncle Howdy, are still with the company, which is reassuring. Glad we've got that confusion settled. However, on a separate but linked note, there was recently talk of WWE hiring a new writer specifically to work with Wyatt on his creative. That came courtesy of Road Dogg, and now Fightful Select is reporting that Mr. Dogg stating that has led to its own confusion backstage in WWE. Why this wasn't reported, but one would assume that this would be because they haven't done that. I mean, it's not like Road Dogg would lie, would he? He seems wholly reliable. Reliable, more like. Reliable. And lastly, before I hand over to Luke for the Raw review, there was a report from PW Insider that Triple H was absent from last week's SmackDown, meaning he was not able to run the show. Now, luckily, it seems like this wasn't the cue for Vinnie Mac to come waltzing right in and take his place, but instead, Bruce Pritchard was the one heading up the show in Trips' place. The reason for Papa H's absence wasn't given, so fingers crossed it's nothing too serious. There haven't been any reports right now about him missing last night's Raw, so hopefully he was back behind the wheel before long. And now, over to Luke for Raw.
And now it's time for my review of Monday Night Raw, aka does anyone else feel like Night of Champions is just another admin show edition of Monday Night Raw? In about 5 minutes. By the way, there will be a fun way to enjoy Night of Champions. More on that in a bit. The show kicked off with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to cut a promo that was, yeah, we thought we were out of the Bloodline storyline as well, but turns out we're not, so I guess we'll beat Roman and Solo at Night of Champions. This brought out the Judgment Day, who were here to set up the show-long storyline, and one that I really like. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have gone from the Hunters for the tag titles to the Hunted. They're defending the belts against the Bloodline next Saturday. Judgment Day are lined up as future challengers, and Imperium later in the show respun the plate to put themselves up as future challengers as well. Shinsuke Nakamura beat The Miz in a decent little TV match, and we got 2 sit-down interview segments in the show to highlight the WWE career of Seth Rollins ahead of him inevitably winning the World Heavyweight Championship next week. They did a really good job of using their NXT history to put over Rollins' accomplishments in the company, as well as quite cleverly editing out as much of Jon Moxley as they possibly could from his time in The Shield. Later in the show, Rollins talked about how this was his best version of Seth Rollins, and again continued the tease of a future champ versus champ showdown against Roman Reigns. This was all good stuff, and there'll be more of it next week. The greatest thing in WWE, Gunther, he's just the best, I would die for him, came out to witness a battle royal to crown a new #1 contender for his Intercontinental Championship at Night of Champions, which saw the Raw debuts or re-debuts in one case of NXT call-ups in the draft like JD Madonna, Apollo Crews, Von Wagner, and Zion Quinn. Crews even got an entrance, good for you. Sadly, the Battle Royal didn't do a lot for them. Crews and Wagner were eliminated during the ad break with no replays, and Quinn was just dumped after doing nothing of note. JD was the only one to get something out of this because he's an NXT call-up. You know what that means. Quick, someone find Dolph Ziggler. We need an NXT call-up feud stat. JD was eliminated from the match by Dolph Ziggler, and then he attacked him around ringside. He later cut a promo on the man as Finn Stinglaw watched from the rafters, seemingly indicating that those reports that JD is set to join Judgment Day are correct. The rest of the Battle Royal was filled with really fun stuff, and it came down to Bronson Reed, Mustafa Ali, and Ricochet, and Ali dropkicked Reed, who was holding Rick off the apron for a win. A good finish to a good Battle Royal, and it sets up Ali versus Walter at Night of Champions, which will be a fine little squash match. And yeah, sure, it is inevitable that Gunther will win, but won't it be fun to watch him chop the life out of Mustafa Ali? And if you think that's fun, imagine watching that in a room with over 100 like-minded other wrestling fans. Well, you can by getting your tickets to our watch party for Night of Champions at the Long Arm Pub and Brewery in London's very trendy Shoreditch. Tickets are available in the link down below, and if our Clash at the Castle party last year is anything to go by, this is going to be the best way to watch this pay-per-view. And yes, while Ali won the match, he wasn't actually set up as the actual contender for the title, because that's Matt Riddle, who was not only given an entrance where he got in the face of Gunther, he was eliminated from the match with the help of Imperium. And with Judgment Day setting themselves up as the next contenders to Sami and KO, especially because they beat them later in the show, spoilers, it means that Roman and Solo probably aren't winning those tag titles. And Raw's Seth Rollins is probably going to win the Raw exclusive world title rather than SmackDown's AJ Styles because he's not on the right color show. So it sort of makes Night of Champions feel like an obligation rather than a pay-per-view to be excited about. So you'd better buy tickets for our Night of Champions party to get all the enjoyment that you possibly can from this show. Also, Johnny Gargano returned to the Battle Royal, and I don't think anyone noticed. Becky Lynch cut an excellent promo on Trish Stratus to set up their match for the pay-per-view. Rhea cut a backstage promo on Natalya, and Dominic Mysterio beat Xavier Woods due to interference from Rhea. Sorry, my notes from last week must have made it onto the prompter. Sorry, folks. We sometimes get technical issues and glitches here at WrestleTalk HQ. Let me just reread my notes here. Dominic Mysterio beat Xavier Woods due to interference from Rhea Ripley. Oh. Again! JD got a video package, and Indus Sher beat two lads in an incredibly heatless match. Cody Rhodes cut a promo on Brock Lesnar that, let's be honest, could have been the same promo he cut 3 weeks ago. We probably wouldn't have noticed. Next week they'll be under the same roof, and you can never quite tell what will happen when they're under the same roof unless it's like every other time, where a brawl breaks out and security break it up. Zoe Stark set up a match with Candice LeRae for next week, and Raquel Rodriguez beat Chelsea Green with no trouble whatsoever. This was supposed to be a tag title match, but Liv Morgan suffered an injury on SmackDown, so this was done in its place. And you might think that Raquel beating Green wouldn't make the challengers look good, and you'd be right, but they're not actually the challengers. As Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler made their return to TV and presented themselves as the actual challengers for the tag titles by attacking Raquel and demanding a shot at the belt. And yes, it was funny that Ronda returned to TV and immediately fell over. We got a video package to hype Apollo Crews, and Corey Graves said, "I can't wait to see Apollo Crews back on Raw. He was in the Battle Royal earlier in the show, you goof." And the main event saw Judgment Day beat Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in an excellent TV match after several spots of interference from Imperium and a distraction spot from the ramp by Paul Heyman. It really played up the Hunter versus Hunted storyline, which I really quite like, even if I don't really like the tag champions being pinned twice in a couple of weeks, and it sort of has made Night of Champions feel a bit redundant, but never mind that. This is a really good story. And this was another building block show from Raw. It tried to introduce some new names, start some new storylines, and gave us some pretty good wrestling across the show. The main event in particular was excellent. This week's Raw is 3 out of 5. So go and get your tickets for our Night of Champions party and check out me, Pete, and Tempest reacting to what is often considered to be the worst wrestling match in history. Shelly Martinez versus Rebel from TNA. You know, the one where Shelly yells about her vagina hurting? Yeah, it's that one. But is it really the worst match ever? Here's a clip.
Oh my god, I'm genuinely seeing stars.
My name is Luke Owen, and I love bad wrestling. Join me on my journey through a cavalcade of crapness, watching what many believe to be the worst wrestling matches of all time to make my friends and